都不知道
各位
说什么了，
同学，大家好！
突然不知道讲什么了，
卡住了。OK， 各位同学，大家好，我们来到我们直播第29期。我们今天很荣幸邀请到 Catherine 学姐跟我们分享她在纽约大学的生活点点滴滴，还有她的经验。那 Catherine 学姐的中文没有特别的好，所以她会用英文说，那我们会帮同学做翻译，所以家长也不要太担心。然后有什么问题，同学一定要尽量提问哦，因为学姐她都会分享她的个人经验。那我觉得这些经验都是非常非常独特的，而且是过来人才会有的。那我们也真的很高兴，因为很多同学对于纽约这个大城市呢，一直都很好奇，充满好奇，然后对 NYU 也是觉得说充满了好奇，然后想说没有校园的城市到底是怎么样的生活呢？怎么样进行呢？然后包括说啊，是不是所有的东西都跟天价一样啊？然后怎么在纽约活 ？OK， 那我们就把时间交给 Catherine。OK，Catherine。
Okay, well, I guess 你好 hello everybody. 我叫 Catherine, 中文名字是婷婷. I went to NYU I started in 2006, graduated in 2010, so it was my undergraduate at the business school. So I majored in economics and marketing, and I minored in French because I wanted to study something outside of the business school as well. So that's just a very quick introduction about, I guess, me. Do you want to translate that? And then I can.
那个 Catherine 学姐呢，她是主修经济，还有行销，然后她那个辅修呢是法文，因为她想要学一些有不同的这样子，
因为她想要走遍世界。
Okay, so NYU, I can look through some of this. So facts and figures, I didn't know this actually. This is all new for me, so it makes me very proud. But there are a lot of people, even just in the past 20 years, who have graduated and won Nobel Prizes, Pulitzer Prizes, Abel Prizes. I think the important thing probably on here is that there are, I guess, 5,000 faculty. Sorry, I have cars outside. But NYU is a very big school. There's close to 50,000 students, I think, who go to that school. So it's in New York, but it's a really, really big class. I think it was 25,000 undergraduate, 25,000 graduate students. So it's pretty big.
所以 Catherine 学姐说，看到学校有这么多 honor， 她其实也觉得很荣耀这样子。因为以前在读书的时候，她其实也从来不太看这些数字这样子。那学校呢，她的学生 undergraduate 好像是2500个人嘛，然后大学部是2500，那研究所也差不多是2500，所以其实她在纽约来说，她算是一个很大的学校。
I don't think it's 2500, I think it's 25000.
25000 25,000， 哇 ，total
yeah,
25 total。哇，那个25000好多。
Yeah, it's big. It's a very big school.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of different programs to study, but I think I went to NYU because it has a very good business school, and because it's in New York City, it has a lot of relationships with different companies, so the work experience is also very good. But the other school that's very, very good at NYU is the art school. It's called Tisch, and so a lot of drama or musicals or kind of artists. So I would say the business school and the art school are the two kind of like most well-known academic programs at NYU.
哇 ，NYU 它其实2个很出名，第一个就是它的商学院，第二个是它的艺术，其实是 NYU 非常出名的这2个大的那个出名的科系。
So there are 3 campuses in New York. So at NYU, the biggest one, of course, is in New York City. It's for people who are familiar with New York City. It's different from Columbia. So Columbia is another big school in Manhattan, but Columbia has like a campus. So it's all kind of like all the buildings are in one area. NYU is kind of embedded in the city. So your dorm might be here and your building might be here and your advisor is somewhere else. So you're kind of walking all through the city. It's centered in kind of Greenwich Village, East Village, but it's not like Columbia doesn't have a campus. It's much more like interspersed in New York City.
NYU 呢，它其实有3个校区，可是它最大的当然就是在纽约这个校区。它不像哥伦比亚大学一样，哥大呢他们有自己的校园，所以他们整个都是围在那一区。那 NYU 这边呢，因为它在格林威治还有在东城这边，所以它的校园就是说比较开放性，它没有一个围墙把它围起来，所以有时候住宿住在这边，那隔2条街，教室在那边，然后教授可能再又隔另外1条街这样子，所以它其实是相当分散的。
The other 2 campuses, actually, these are new since I've been there, but one is at NYU Abu Dhabi and another one is NYU in Shanghai. These are actual full schools. I think they're like satellite universities of NYU. So it's all NYU teachers, all NYU classes, all the credits transfer. It's a little bit like study abroad. I want to say also study abroad is one big reason I wanted to go to NYU. So these are the other campuses in other places, but you can also, there's kind of smaller NYU programs in maybe 10 other countries. Like I had a good friend who went to Spain or London or Buenos Aires, I think, in Argentina.
OK，NYU 像它还有另外一个在阿布达比，还有一个 NYU 在上海，它都是原汁原味的 NYU 的，就是教授啊、课程啊，然后他们其实课程都可以彼此课程之间都可以转换，都是学校都会承认的。那还有 Catherine 学姐呢，她当时选择 NYU 的一点，还是就是说，包括 NYU 的那个就是国际化还有国际交换学生的部分，它其实是非常非常的好，然后做的非常非常的多。所以像她的好朋友就有在西班牙做交换学生。
I think NYU is definitely a very strong research university. I think I don't know that much about it. I think it's much more on the science piece of things, and so I'm sorry, I don't really know that much about the research part. But I do think that it's pretty well known for its professors. Yeah.
所以也是 Catherine 学姐很可爱，因为她是商学院的，所以她就觉得对于学校的理工科呢、自然学科觉得不是很清楚这样子，所以呢，她就觉得说，她没有办法对于学校的这个 research 的这个部分给同学一些更好的说明，这样子还蛮可爱的哈。就因为她真的就是专注在她的那个商学院的部分这样。
University life, though, I can definitely talk about. So actually, this is the same thing that I was saying, which is since it's not a campus, it is all kind of like within these different neighborhoods at NYU. I do think that university life, I can talk a little bit about student life because it is a very, very big school, so a lot of students, and because it's not in one confined area, the student life I think is unique at NYU, and it's very different from most other universities in the United States because it's not as much of like everybody goes to the same parties, everybody goes to the same football games. We don't have sports in the same way as other schools do. It's much more like you live in New York and you also go to school, and there's some kind of NYU events, but it's much more about like your life, like life and school are kind of both together. It's not like school is your life. Does that make sense?
他说因为 NYU one quick question, do you have any sports?
There are sports. It's D3, and it's not like the same way like the University of Michigan has football games that everybody goes to. So there are basketball games, there are like volleyball games, soccer games, but most people don't really go to them.
OK， 然后就刚刚我再问一下，因为 NYU 它其实就是因为它有点像，就是说你住在纽约这个城市，然后你在那边上课，所以到 NYU 读书是有一点像是说，你的一个生活的形态，而不是说像在其他的大学城呢，就是可能学校就是你所有的部分，在 NYU 是你在生活在学业上面，所以其实有点像那种生活的那种 lifestyle 的那种感觉。那我刚刚有问了 Catherine 学姐说学校有没有体育活动，有没有体育，她说有啊，可是好像都不会，大家就觉得说好像不会专程就是去看啊，像 Michigan 大学一样，只要有体育活动全校都要跑去看一样这样子。那就在 NYU 读书就是NYU 学校有时候办一些活动他们会去，就是聚会的感觉，就这样子而已。所以生活跟校园其实是都彼此是说，就是学校在 NYU 读书有点像就是说你的生活的一个部分而已，而不是你的生活全部。
One other thing about university life is that similar to sports, NYU we do have some fraternities and sororities, but it's not a big percentage of students who join it. It's not like my boyfriend went to UVA, University of Virginia, and I think he was saying that like most people, the majority of students are part of a fraternity or sorority. At NYU, it was like, maybe 5 or 10% of people. So the party, it's not like you go to the fraternity parties or sorority parties each weekend. You might go out to, like people's apartments or something, or dorms, or maybe bars if you're old enough. It's much more about like the city and not so much about like the school. So that's just another example of how university life is a little bit different at NYU than at most.
他那个 Catherine 学姐讲很好，很可爱。她说，因为大部分很多大学城啊，他们的兄弟会、姐妹会是非常的活跃的。然后其实很多同学都会参加兄弟会、姐妹会。像 Catherine 学姐的朋友呢，就是 Virginia 的大学毕业的嘛，那他们就讲到说，大部分的同学都是有就参加兄弟会、姐妹会，所以每当周末要聚会的时候，都是兄弟会、姐妹会互相聚会。可是呢，在 NYU 这个学校呢，它比较特别，大概就是很少同学会参加兄弟会或姐妹会，所以兄弟会、姐妹会的组织在这个学校里面运作，并不是这么的热络、这么的活跃。那大部分如果说要聚会、要去 party 的话，或者什么，都是到同学的那个 apartment 啊，到同学的宿舍啊，到同学的公寓去啊，然后聚在那边吃吃喝喝，就比较是没有用兄弟会或姐妹会的组织去彼此就联谊啊、交流这样子。
Exactly. This, I think that one of the best things about NYU is the career count. So there, I guess, two things. There's this, which is the Office of Student Success, which is about, I think, more like counseling around advising on your academics, but also around any like health and wellness. But I think also the other one of the best things about NYU, in my opinion, is the career counseling. So there's a lot of on-campus recruitment. So a lot of companies come to NYU. They might have career fairs, and they interview students like right on campus. And I think because NYU's in New York and so well known, there's a lot of companies that come year after year, and they're always kind of like looking to hire more NYU folks. So I think the Office of Student Success is kind of one piece that's around student life, but then there's also the career advising office that also helps you with like resumes and interview prep and career coaching and that kind of thing.
OK，NYU 它除了就是说他们学校一个很大的特点就是说辅导学生的就业，学校就业中心这一块它其实是相当活跃的，因为大部分就说学校的就是学校的学生的辅导部分呢，除了当然一般大学都会有的，就是说包括学生的心理辅导，因为大学功课压力很大，那学校有办了很多的这种就是就业就职的博览会，那帮助学生顺利就业这样子。然后刚刚这不小心被自己的口水呛到，所以呢，NYU 就是说帮助学生在就业这块呢是非常非常重视的。学校就是办了很多的这种就是就职展就职展啦、然后包括很多的就是说就是学长姐来分享他们的就业的部分。那学校就是帮学生找工作这一块是非常非常的活跃，非常比较起其他学校是相当的，就是算是非常多的学校在这边琢磨非常多，因为可能也是在纽约城市吧。
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the other thing is that because you live in New York City, it's very easy to get internships at the same time. So I think I had 3 or 4 internships during my education, and I think that definitely helped me with like getting a job after graduation. So like I worked at an ad agent, like a marketing agency for a couple of semesters, and then I worked for a magazine in like the advertising sales section. So it was like those are both kind of like New York specific industries, right? Like agency, like creative or media agencies is really big. Publishing. So I was at a magazine. I had a lot of friends who studied finance, and NYU Stern that I went to is great for finance. So a lot of people had investment banking or private equity internships. And so a lot of that then helps you then, I think, get a job after graduation, which was a big help.
OK，因为 NYU 这一块呢，它就是说 NYU 大学呢，它是在纽约这个城市，那它的经济就是活动非常的活跃。那因为在大城市里面，所以很容易找到实习的机会。像 Catherine 学姐呢，她就在广告公司做过，然后在行销公司做过，那这帮助她就业帮助的非常好。像她也有同学是读金融的，那在金融方面的话，其实很多时候也在纽约非常容易找到一些就是实习的机会。那有很多是专属于纽约，因为是一个金融大镇嘛。所以在纽约里面，它充满了各式各样的机会。所以读 NYU 的话呢，它在这边对 Catherine 学姐的帮助就是她的实习机会非常非常的多。
Oh, this is a video.
That's kind of fast, right?
I can talk a little bit more.
So can you just share more about your experience, like any stories and how you choose class, like between the class, how you get to like rush to this building and that building and the shuttle bus and like dorms, all this life?
Okay, sure. Yeah.
And let's go with your dorm life first, okay? Like the first year.
There are freshman dorms, and then there are upperclassmen dorms. So when you come in as a first year student, there's maybe 5 or 6 dorms that are just for freshmen. That means everyone you live with, everyone in the building is a first year. And then in your second, third, and fourth years, all of them kind of get like mixed up together. I lived in, hey, I guess, let me back up. There are 2 kinds of dorms. There are 2 kinds of freshman dorms. There's the kinds where in your room, it's just kind of you and a roommate. I guess actually we all had private bathrooms. Like there's no communal bathrooms like there are at other schools. But you have to go to like the dining hall underneath on the ground floor. So that's kind of one kind of freshman dorm. The other type of freshman dorm is apartment style. So it's usually 2 bedrooms. Each bedroom has 2 people. So you live in a group of 4 and you have a kitchen. And so there's no dining halls there. So those are kind of 2 different choices that you can make. Of course, like especially oh sorry, go ahead.
呀，这大一的时候，他的那个宿舍，大一的宿舍呢，大概都会有就是说他们都没有，就是所谓的我们的公共澡堂吧，公共洗澡的地方吧，就传统的那种宿舍。有时候大学宿舍就传统的那个厕所跟卫浴设备都是在外面，但是大部分他们都是在里面。可是大一比较特别是，他们没有所谓的，就是他们是要去 dining hall 这边吃饭的。那大二、大三跟大四呢，他们大概都是混在一起混住的。不过大一是独自自己的一栋，都不会跟其他人混。那大二到大四他们都会混在一起。那它有点像公寓式的一个房间，两张床。那大概就是一个房子里面大概就是会有4个人这样子。那他们就do they have dining halls in like for sophomore to senior?
Not in those dorms, but sophomores and above can still participate in a meal plan and go to some of the dining halls.
OK， 所以就是大二、大三、大四呢，学校还是有 meal plan。基本上住学校宿舍，学校都是会有所谓的 meal plan 的。这个大概是就是说，因为只要住学校宿舍，学校会很在乎学生的饮食，所以学校一定会强迫学生，基本上都是要在学校的cafeteria 吃饭 ，dining hall 吃饭就对了。Yeah.
I think the dining halls are actually a really so one of the things that I was saying earlier is that I think NYU doesn't have the same level of community maybe as some other schools because it's more in the city. But I think as a freshman, especially in like the dining halls, I think that a lot of the different schools at NYU do a lot of work to create that community, especially when you're first joining. So I guess I would personally recommend living in one of the dorms where you're like going to a dining hall. Oh, one other thing is they have these different programs that you can kind of like sign up for. So I had like expressed an interest in like French culture, and so my dorm, I got placed in like a dorm where one floor it was like we were called the French floor or something. So everyone either was interested in French or I guess everyone was interested in French. And so what that meant was like we had kind of special funding. We could go out to like get French food, or like we'd go out and watch a French movie. So that was like really fun because we were automatically put together with like a similar interest, and it helped me make friends kind of in my first year that were even outside of my business school. It was a way to kind of like meet other people and build that community.
OK， 他说学校在宿舍的时候呢，就有就是说你可以根据你的兴趣嗜好先去做挑选，然后学校也帮你真的就是做匹配。所以像 Catherine 学姐呢，她在大一的时候，她就是选她对于那个法国的文化非常有兴趣，所以刚好她的宿舍的那几间的在一起的那一区呢，都是对法国的文化还有那些就是法国的文化是大家都是有相同的爱好的，所以他们基本上都还会去外面就是看法国的电影啊，做一些法国的东西这样。那这个呢，其实就是说不只是在他课业上面，就是说他即使这个友谊是一直维持到现在，都还是相当维持着就对了。所以他觉得说这个是学校在宿舍的分配上面做的是蛮好的一点。How about the class? I mean, the class for the freshman, sophomore, junior, senior?
So I guess I was in the business school, so I had more of a strict curriculum than you might have. So I can probably talk a little bit to like the undergrad business school, but also like the College of Arts and Sciences, because that's probably where I knew the most people. I think in both schools, so I think I had like 8 classes a semester. Well, is that right? Or is that 4 classes a semester? 4 classes a semester, 8 classes a year. And of those 8, usually like I think it was 6 classes in the first year, 4 classes in the next year, to kind of satisfy the requirements for my degree. I think the College of Arts and Sciences was like 4 in the first year and then 2 in the second year, and then it's all about what major you choose. The classes, I think, I'm trying to remember how you sign up for them. I mean, there's a lot of help that like the advising office can tell you on like, all right, if I'm interested in these majors, here are the different tracks you can take. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think it's probably the same as at most schools.
But how about like between class though? I mean, the buildings, like I heard that, I remember one time my friend or a student said that kind of like a far, you have to cross the street.
Yeah, so because we're in the city and not on a campus, you can get unlucky and, you know, you only have 10 minutes between classes or something, and you have to, you know, walk a half mile or something, and there's street lights, so maybe you can't like run there, you know, you have to like be careful. It all depends on what school you're in. I would say most classes, if you're in the same school, are going to be there. So most classes that are College of Arts and Sciences are kind of like in these two buildings. Most of my classes for the business school were in like one building. The art school, you know, is in a different building, but like since I was a French major, if I had like a French class, I might have to go to like the Arts and Sciences building and then come back. It's all like, you know, pretty close together. I think it's rare that someone would need to take a shuttle from one building to another for class, but some of the dorms are a little bit farther away, so there are definitely shuttles to get to some dorms.
OK， 但那个 Catherine 学姐说，大部分的课呢，因为都是在同一个学院里面的话，所以同一个学院大概就是那1栋2栋都在一起，所以基本上不太会有赶来赶去，就是说要隔街啊，要小跑步啊，要走1迈呀，或者去，因为课和课中间只有10分钟。但是像Catherine 学姐她有修那个法文课的时候啊，因为那就是法文课不在商学院里面，她是在文学院里面，所以她就变说有时候他上法文课的话，他就要赶到另外一栋大楼去，那可能就会要赶来赶去。那通常学校也有 offer 那个 shuttle bus 可以载，不过通常的情况之下，一般同学也不太会，就是说赶课之间不太会搭到 shuttle bus。但是有些宿舍比较远，就会有学校有提供 shuttle bus 可以让学生就是搭乘，那他就是往返学校跟教室跟宿舍之间。
I think when you get to being an upperclassman, so maybe in your sophomore or junior year, you start to rely a lot more on the shuttles or on the subway. I think all the freshman dorms are a little bit more centered at NYU, and then the upperclassmen dorms kind of get farther away. And so I also think it's really common for people to start to rent their own apartments. Instead of just doing a dorm for, you know, the 10 months or something, they preferred to do a preferred to rent an apartment maybe with a couple of students. That way you could stay there through the summer and leave all your stuff and kind of work there or take classes during the summer.
OK， 就是到了高年级的部分的时候呢，他其实是有时候他们也都会搭地铁。那大部分的学生其实到了之后呢，就是大一在学校宿舍住完了之后，通常他们都会选择去外面租房子，因为住宿舍大概就只有10个月的时间，所以暑假的时候都要把东西撤出。那很多同学他们暑假其实东西还是没有办法，就是都还是想放在那个宿舍里面嘛，所以大部分他们都是去外面租房子，那就是跟几个人一起合租，然后就把东西放在那边，这样可以租1整年这样子。Well, the rent, I heard the rents are killing people.
I mean, living in New York, I was actually gonna maybe say that next, which is living in New York is definitely very expensive. Actually, the cost though of renting an apartment compared to dorms when I was there was actually not that different. And if you are looking, you can actually find rents that are better deals than some dorms. I also think, I mean, because you live in New York, right, a lot of things cost more money, like groceries cost more, taking a taxi cost more. I remember there was once we went to go visit a friend who, studied at the University of Maryland, and we went there and ordered, a couple of drinks or something, and they were like, oh yeah, it's like $9, and I was like, $9 for every drink? I was like, that's like the same price as New York. This is crazy. And he's like, no, it's $9 for 4 drinks. And he was like, this is University of Maryland, like things are so cheap. And so I think that regular life in New York is definitely much more expensive.
我刚刚问了 Catherine 学姐，就说她的那个住在纽约的那公寓宿舍会不会就是租房子会不会很贵啊？然后她就说，基本上呢，有时候你很好看的话，有时候租房子可能会跟住学校的宿舍也差不多那些钱这样子。然后就说，当然住在纽约生活开销都很大，真的就是非常非常的大。那她有讲到说那个然后她有讲到说。那个他有一次他们就去那个马里兰大学找同学玩，那他们就点了一些饮料，他就讲9块钱，他们就说哦9块钱一杯9块钱嘛，然后反正就觉得哦那跟纽约差不多，他说不是4杯9块钱，他说哦这个太便宜了，当然啦，因为那是在乡下地方嘛，马里兰乡下地方，所以那个真的就很便宜，那住在大都市相当的贵这样子。
But I think the other thing was that because I was in New York, I was able to have those internships, and some of them were paid internships. And so I think being able to work at the same time, I mean, I think for the last 2 years I was there, I was working maybe 15 hours a week. And so, it was, at least I was able to, I think while yes, it's more expensive, there's also some opportunity to kind of get other jobs, I guess, to be able to make some money.
他说当然还是有实习的机会嘛，所以有实习的机会其实就可以多少补贴一下，不然住在市中心真的太贵了。Yeah. And like, what did you do when you were in school? Like, what did you do? Like, extracurricular or just like a study and the internship?
So I was part of actually Stern. NYU Stern is the business school. I was part of the Stern Student Council. So I was like the treasurer for Stern or something. So I looked after all the student budgets. We had several clubs that get funding. We also kind of organized a bunch of events for students. It was a lot about, building the community, getting ready for maybe graduation or something. So I think I was treasurer. I think I was called the VP of Finance for NYU Stern Student Council or something.
他参加学生会，他那时候大学的时候是有参加学生会，然后在学生会里面就是做管财务的这样子就对了。那刚好也有学生就说，那如果说 so let's say that when you apply for the business school, so because we know a lot of schools they don't have the business school when you apply to their university. But how about New York? You just apply to the business school directly, or you have to through like first year, second year, and then you can declare your major, or how it works?
So I applied to go into Stern my first year. Most people go in their first year. There is an ability to transfer in after your first year, so in second year, but it's not that common. At NYU, when you apply to NYU in total, you express your interest in which school you want to. I don't know if you can apply to multiple, but I had applied to Stern and got an acceptance from Stern.
Cool. Wow. So, but you still can apply, declare your major or show your interest when you declare your major, right?
So, if you join Stern from the beginning, you're expected to basically major in a business concentration. But I think, so if you come into Stern and you say like, oh, actually I want to be a history major or something, you can double major. So you can do a business major and a history. But if you just wanted to switch into, College of Arts and Sciences or the School of Journalism or a School of Nursing or something, you can switch into that. but the business school was kind of all like business majors.
呀，那个就是说，在 NYU 呢，它还蛮特别的一点，就是说它可以直接就申请了它的商学院，就不用再透过这样子。有些学校它是大一、大二的时候是没有让学生直接申请的，可是像 NYU 它就是直接申请，就是你可以就直接申请商学院。所以像 Catherine 学姐就相当的优秀，真的是非常优秀 ，You are so outstanding 的、哦。所以她就是直接一申请就录取了那个 NYU 的那个 CERN 学院，就是商学院。然后就从那边，当然你中间要转系啊或干什么，其实学校之间的转系都不会太困难啦。可是就是说，当然你也可以，就是说一开始没有进到商学院，最后你要再转到商学院也是可以，可是都要符合他们的规定跟条件就对了。Yeah. So
yeah, it was I think it was probably easier to get into university when I was applying 15 years ago. So I think it's gotten a little bit harder here now.
呀，他是真的谦虚了。其实就是说，真的很特别的一点是，因为可能在纽约的关系哈，所以他就直接就是说申请上学。So what did you do to make you stand out? I mean,
On my application when I was applying for NYU, I mean, I definitely studied. I worked really pretty hard in high school, so I had very good grades, and I focused really hard on my SATs and my essays. I think one of the things, because I didn't have a ton, I'm trying to remember what my extracurricular activities were. I wasn't very good at sports. And so I think I knew that part was lacking on my application. So instead I focused on community service and kind of like leadership and tried to show, you know, my volunteering experience instead of anything sports or music related, because I don't know how to do those things.
哇，所以 Catherine 学姐呢，她在高中的时候，我们刚刚问她说，那是怎么样让她觉得是怎么样让她会被获得 NYU 的 CERN 学院给录取了呢？然后她是说，因为她在高中的时候相当的努力，成绩也都非常好，考试成绩也很好，在校学生成绩也很好，但是她自己本身体育不是她的强项，所以她在申请的时候其实没有放很多体育活动，但是她放了很多的就是community service， 就是她的志工活动，还有他给学校秀了他有领导的能力，所以呢，就是展现出他有 leadership 这个能力，所以其实这是让他获得录取的关键。Yeah. So what did you write on your essay though?
Oh gosh.
Right now, a lot of students they are struggling with this.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't remember. What I can do is I can try and look back and see if I can find it, and if I can find anything, I can send it out.
Oh, sure. There were a lot. Yeah.
But honestly, it was. I mean, it was back in 2005. I was applying, so to be honest, I'm sorry, I just don't remember.
我要问学姐说，哎，你那时候 essay 写了什么？她就说忘记了，她如果找到会跟大家分享。这样，其实那时候当然就是一个很痛苦的过程，写 essay 是很痛苦的过程。可是真的就说录取了之后，到时候都会忘记了，你到时候那时候写什么这样子，所以那都不是很重要这样子。但是同学一定要记得，要申请 NYU 的成绩一定要好要高，这是非常重要的这样子。Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say one thing, which is I do feel like the thing that was most helpful to me when I was applying around my essays was that I felt like I had a lot of people edit my essays, like especially my college or the advisors in high school. I think because I went to school in Canada, there were fewer people who were applying to American universities, and I think American universities were more competitive to get into, and so developing a relationship with my advisor was really helpful. They I think gave me a lot of good advice, and they just kind of like read through my essays and helped get that to being better. I think it's they helped me a lot more than I could have done on my own.
那个 Catherine 学姐有特别讲到，就说哈，还有讲说她那时候，因为她在加拿大读书，她就给很多的人改过她的 essay 已经改了无数次了，就一直在改，一改再改，一改再改的这样子。然后呢，她说可是她有一点很重要是说，你要跟你学校的 counselor 搞好关系。那当时呢，很少人要申请美国的学校，因为毕竟美国的学校是相当的竞争，所以呢，对他来说，他当时他决定要来申请，那他跟他的 counselor 搞好关系，然后 essay 改了很多次，所以他觉得说这是非常重要的。Okay, so you were struggling back then, right? Kind of like.
I mean, it's a really hard time in life to try and get into university. I'm glad I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah, but looking back, it's definitely worth of that, right? 他
Yeah.
说要申请真的是很痛苦啊，他就是说，可能他很高兴说终于过了那个过程，因为那真的是非常痛苦的一个时期，算是目前人生来说已经很痛苦，但很高兴说终于解脱了这样子。
I was going to say one other thing, which is that I'm definitely very thankful that I went to NYU. I think that the quality of education was really good and definitely helped me kind of get good work experience after. I think it also opened my eyes to the world. I mean, NYU is such a global city, you know, and it's so diverse of a student population that I knew, you know, I met people from like all over the United States, but also all over the world. And I mean, I'm very thankful because a lot of my closest friends now are still from NYU, and I am very happy that I went there.
那个 Catherine 学姐说哈，真的就是说，她觉得 NYU 提供了她一个非常优质的教育，而且尤其是在 NYU 这个就是在纽约的这个城市呢，其实是提供给她一个很大的世界观。那对她来说，就是说她在这边也是尤其是在工作上面的帮助也很大。那她很多同学、很多好朋友都是在 NYU 里面结交到的。Yeah.So any recommendations that you want to, or any advice you want to share with us?
About like applications or about NYU or about any of it? The recommendations, I guess I would definitely recommend probably exactly what people are doing right now, which is doing some research and understanding what they're looking for in a school. I think that NYU is more unique of a school than others because it's not kind of maybe the traditional like student life stuff that other schools have. And I think that a lot of people, you know, my boyfriend included, it would not have been the right place for someone like him. But I love a big city. I love like a lot of you know, musicals or concerts or whatever. Like I love kind of the excitement of New York and the diversity of people. That for me, like I was much more interested in living in New York than I was like the community of one school. But I do think that like college, when a lot of people say like, oh, going to college or whatever, that means one thing, which is a little bit it's just a different experience. So I would say doing the research and trying to understand from students what they like about their school and what they don't is really helpful when you're trying to figure out if that will be kind of a good match for you.
Catherine 学姐要给大家的建议是说呢，因为她本身就喜欢大城市，她本身就喜欢这样子的生活方式跟形态，所以她觉得说选择 NYU 的时候呢，她觉得这对她来说是很重要的。当然，像她对她来说，她的朋友可能就是说每个人的选择不同，她朋友可能就是说不会喜欢大城市，是喜欢一个大校园的地方，然后有校园的这种生活呢。那每个人的就是青菜萝卜各取所好，每个人喜欢什么都是他自己决定，但是 是一定要了解你要申请的学校是什么样子的学校，这样子的时候你才会清楚的在你的 essay 上面写得出跟学校的关联，这一点是非常非常重要的，而不是只有强调说哦，我就想要申请你的学校 because of the ranking. A lot of times the students they say, we want to apply for your school because of the ranking, not just because the school that's a school that you really want to study there, you want to make friends there, you want to live there for a couple of years. A lot of the time the students get so confused, they just want to over care just about it, just the ranking. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say
yes.
for just one other thing, which is I always felt like it was really important to balance a few different things. So of course, when I was there, my primary objective was my education. And so I was always, you know, I was the type I always go to class, but like balancing the education with kind of the New York piece, like, you know, I wanted to enjoy living there. I wanted to get some work experience. I wanted to learn about the city. I wanted to balance those two things, plus kind of the like the friendships part. I think that, you know, university is just probably for everyone. No matter where you go to university in the world, that is going to be where you meet some lifelong friends. And I just think that like the experience of going through that is so important for the long term, that it's kind of education, the life that I had in New York, and then kind of the friendships. Those were the things I was trying to balance, even though I knew, like, of course, the education is kind of the primary purpose, but not forgetting about those other two.
Catherine 学姐讲，就是说她其实她喜欢纽约，她想要在那边有一个好的优质教育，然后有同时享受这个纽约的学校，纽约的这个城市。那其实他说，其实就是要做到学习跟生活的平衡。那当然，在各个大学里面，在大学就学的期间之内呢，你都是会交到很多很好的朋友。那这些朋友会跟着你一辈子，那其实是非常好的。然后他其实真的是在强调，就是说 balance， 就是你的生活跟你的课业其实是非常的重要，要做好平衡。Okay, so I think the last one is the video that you would like to share with us, right?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Hopefully this will work. Oh no, it says
Oh, it's unavailable. Oh, okay. Bummer.
Unavailable. Sorry.
It's unavailable. Let me check if I can have this on my side. 呀，所以最后呢，这 Catherine 学姐呢，她跟我们分享一下，就是说她的那个就是学校的一个影片，就是 NYU 的影片，然后跟大家做个分享，然后做个最后的结尾。那不过学姐这边的那个影片好像叫不出来，我这边看看我可不可以叫得出来。OK，
Sorry.
No problem. Okay, so I'll share this. Now I will share with them.
Do you want me to stop sharing?
Yeah, OK. 那我就从我这边跟大家做 share 做分享 OK。
那其实我们可不可以这样讲 Catherine， 就是说如果学生想要申请
University without walls, where all students have access to achievement. That's our promise. NYU has one of the most diverse student communities on the planet. About 20% of students are the first in their families to attend college, and about 20% of the students receive federal Pell Grants. This is just a snapshot of the dynamic learning environment that is NYU, and we're committed to ensuring that all students have the support and resources they need to thrive here. Over 96% of students secured jobs or graduate school placements within 6 months of graduation, and NYU continues to rise in the rankings for graduate employability. A lot can happen between Welcome Week and graduation day. 94% of our first-year class returns for their sophomore year, and 84% of incoming first-year students will graduate within 6 years. For our students who don't cross the finish line, the speculation may be that they weren't prepared academically or they just couldn't afford tuition. But nationally, the evidence shows that those factors account for less than half of the reasons students don't persist. Research and our experience show that gains in retention will come from the ability of individuals around the university to see and support the whole student. By understanding a student's challenges and helping students take advantage of all NYU has to offer, we can make this big place feel small. To do this, we are aligning and simplifying processes across NYU's undergraduate schools and colleges and engaging with students to better understand their experience and the support they need to be successful. NYU is also merging knowledge gained through research with best-in-class technology through a student success platform called NYU Connect. NYU Connect gives faculty, advisors, and colleagues in student services a simple way to raise a concern or offer praise based on student interactions. It also uses the power of data to help us quickly identify the students who need us most. With NYU Connect, we can easily collaborate and share information to offer timely and holistic interventions. Students also use NYU Connect to quickly access resources, schedule appointments, and engage with their success network. Student success is everyone's business. Let's deliver on the promises that inspired our students to choose NYU. When we do this, we change lives.
Wow, pretty impressed, right? Okay.
谢谢 Catherine。
Okay. Wow, thank you so much. I think we have learned a lot from your experience though. Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I really did love NYU, and so I'm happy to talk about it with anybody.
Yeah, we definitely have you share with us next time though. Thank you so much. 那我们今天的直播就差不多到这边结束了。然后同学有什么问题的话，欢迎都在留言跟我们询问哦。OK， 那就先这样子咯。OK，Thank you, Catherine. Sarah 老师，你 have fun. OK， 拜拜。
谢谢。OK， 拜拜。